Hey you, give me a minute. I got something to show you. This is Cyberpunk 2077. After the version 2 update, the game finally feels like it's in the state that it was meant to be in. And I have found one of my favorite combinations of cyberware and weapon in this game. After trying a bunch of stuff out, I have made up my mind as to what I like best. A very deadly combination of weapon and cyberware that makes you feel like God when you're using it. Sandevistan and Byakko. Before version 2, I didn't really mess with Sandevistans all that much, but after I decided to try it and realized these things are extremely overpowered, but not overpowered in a way that it makes it boring. Some games when you are extremely overpowered, the combat just stops being fun. However, in Cyberpunk 2077, that is not the case. The more overpowered you become, the more fun you have. At least that's the way I see it. But what makes it so special? And which Sandevistan should you use to get the best result from this? To answer the question of which Sandevistan you should use, it really just depends on where you are in the game. Byakko can be unlocked pretty early in your playthrough, depending on when you complete Act 1. It is the reward that you get from Rubicones after completing all the gigs in Japantown, so you can get it pretty early on. If you get it early on enough, you might only be able to unlock the Dynalar Sandevistan, and if that is the case, go for it, because it's probably the best early game Sandevistan that there is. I would not recommend using the other one, it's terrible. When you start moving up on in the game, either one of the Militech Sandevistans. When you get high up enough, I would suggest the Militech Apogee, as it is the best Sandevistan in the game, but you could also use the other Militech one, if you are not at the high enough requirement to get the Apogee Sandevistan. But what makes Byakko so special? I chose Byakko because of the fact that it is probably the best iconic katana in the game. Not only do you have the ability to lunge towards an enemy when you use a strong attack, but after killing an enemy, you can go into this massive combo of attacks, and being able to chop enemies up into little tiny pieces. It is one of the best things you can experience, and when you combine that with the Sandevistan, quite literally nothing stands in your way. The only thing you have to worry about is how much stamina you have left, and even that's not that big of a deal. But this on its own is not as good as it could be, so there are a few added components that I like to do with this, and that is reinforced tendons for double jump, as well as having the perk to air dash, and even better if you have the perk that makes air dash no longer drain your stamina. Doing this, you can quite literally fly around the map. I have spent a lot of time in version 2 of Cyberpunk just dashing around the map, and it's just generally a lot of fun to do. But tying this in with Byakko and Sandevistan, I have yet to find anything as good as this. Try it out for yourself, you will not be disappointed with this.